Hello, and welcome back to the Tapped In podcast. I am your host, Bailey, and today's episode, I'm going to be diving into 23 things that I learned in my 23 years of being on this planet so far. Again, I turned 23 last week. And if you saw my recent trip to New York City, so that ended with me having the stomach flu. And don't confuse the stomach flu with food poisoning, because you can get the stomach flu from someone because it's a flu. Food poisoning is like bad food or whatever. But like, I think the stomach flu comes from like maybe someone eating like contaminated food or something, and they get the flu as well as like a stomach bug. So I got the stomach flu because I was getting sick symptoms on top of having horrible stomach pains, things going on in my body that I do not want to talk about on the internet, but let's just say it was bad. It was bad. So yeah, I just was recovering for a whole 5 days. My hamstrings hurt like a bitch. Everything was just so... I have never felt so down bad sick in so long. Like, it's been so long since I've been that sick. So that was just really, really hard to... That was really hard to be in. That was really hard to do. And I didn't post last week. As you guys saw, I only posted my vlog. I didn't post a podcast episode. And I'm kind of just now trying to remember how to get back into the swing of this. But yeah, I'm really just trying to get back into the swing of podcasting. It's so crazy that I took 1 week off and I'm kind of like, how do I do this? How do I talk? It'll come back to me though. But regardless, thank you guys so much for tapping back in. I'm sure you guys didn't even notice that I was gone last week, but I'm back better than ever. I went to the gym yesterday. We're meditating again. We are floating high. Okay, now we're good. But let's just jump right in today's episode. So 23 things I learned at 23. I want to start off with a disclaimer. I know that I'm young. I know that 23 is not that old. I know that 23 is still very, very much a young teenager almost age. Okay, I know that I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg of adulthood. I mean, I have, but you know, I feel still very young. I do still feel as young as I might sound. But I do also feel like a very intellectual young person. I also feel like a very much of an old soul, as some might say. I also feel just very in tune with the connection of divinity and nature and our true nature and connections with other humans. And my whole podcast is about spirituality and self-development. So that's kind of what I've been working on for a really long time. So I feel like I have a lot of really good insight of things that I've collected these past few years, especially in my early 20s. So I feel like this is mostly things I've learned within like adulthood. I feel like, quote unquote, adulthood. I feel like I've learned a lot of these things just like recently, you know, like there's a lot of things I learned about growing up and everything, but actually now being 23 and have done spiritual work, I can look back at moments that I was younger, or maybe that was a little more recent even, and I can do a little more like investigative work, because I could say like, oh, I learned this when I was like 12, but like I didn't know what I was learning when I was 12, 16, 17, 18, you know, like I didn't even really know what was going on. So now that I am a little older, I have a little more intellectual insight on like maybe why people do certain things they do, or why, you know, I feel so good and other people my age don't feel so good. I think I've learned a lot of intellectual meanings behind why certain things are the way they are. So that's why I feel that me speaking on 23 things I've learned at 23, I feel like since being independent, since moving out, since being on my own, and then having to come back home and then moving out again soon, I feel like all I've had time for in between all that moving around is self-development. It's been the only consistent thing that I've been doing since theater. And when that ended in 2020, I just kind of have been on such a spiritual path because us being stuck at home, not much going out to do. I feel like all I had left were books and YouTube videos and yoga and, whatever. So I feel like as of now, I've gone such a long way. And I feel like all of this list is of things that I have learned in the midst of being on my spiritual journey, being on a path of self-development since about 2020. And I feel that I've just ingested a lot of new information and I want to share. I just felt the need to put a disclaimer because I know that a lot of people that are over 25, even definitely older than that, are going to be like, what does the 23-year-old know? And honestly, I don't know much. 23 things is not a lot of things. 23 years is not a lot of years. But since I've, on the course of this lifetime, have done a lot of work and a lot of investigative, spiritual, intellectual work, I feel like there are some things that I do have just an ouncy bit of insight on. So let's just get right into it. First thing I put is sometimes they aren't meant to be there, no matter how good they made you feel. And to me, I feel that I'm learning a lot about this within like letting old energy back into your life. I feel that I have been I don't want to say victim because that's not the right mentality to have, but I feel like that I've had this reconnection with certain people, and there's a reason why I left, and now we're back in each other's lives, and I'm kind of reflecting on why I left, and I'm reflecting on why that energy was in the past. And do I live in regrets? No. But like, I feel like I'm very much so in the headspace of, we had so many good memories together. They made me feel so good in the moment. Like, we really did have a lot of good moments. Granted, we had a lot of bad, but whatever, it's okay. Like, they were my best friends. They were people that felt like family to me, blah, blah, blah. I feel like having new energy yourself, as if you feel like a new person, if you feel like a new individual, and if you feel like someone that has done a lot of internal investigation, you don't feel like the same person that you were even a month ago, even like yesterday, even especially a year from now or whatever. If you feel different and then you invite energy that you used to have back into your life after you've done the work and they seem to not have changed, it's really, really hard to ingest new energy in your life when you already feel a little more developed and they are kind of doing the same old thing with the same old people, and you're just kind of like grown from that. You're not necessarily any better, or because maybe they're happy, but like maybe you've just gotten to a new level headspace that you just don't resonate with them on the same things. And maybe they're not pouring the same amount of energy into the friendship or relationship as much as maybe you are, or maybe it's just kind of like the same old patterns are creeping up again and again. And I think that when we leave people in the past, there's a reason. And I'm still trying to learn this. That's why I'm grateful that I'm young, and I'm grateful that I'm able to kind of like have time to learn these lessons, because I just feel like I personally don't think that if someone is an energy of the past and then you allow them back in your circle after so many months or years or whatever, and they haven't changed but you have, it's like, well, what am I getting out of this? Because I know what they're getting out of this. They're getting a new, developed, sexy, hot version of me now. And what am I getting? Same old them, same old energy, same old pattern, same old this, same old that. It's kind of not fair to you to have to allow this energy back into your life when it wasn't really serving you in the first place. And now it's coming back not serving you again. And you have another level of respect for yourself. You have another level of love for yourself. And you're kind of just like, why am I allowing this? So all in all, to say, if someone's in the past, there's a reason. And of course, people deserve second chances. Of course, people can change. Of course, people can move on and develop. Yes, that is more than 100% possible. Of course, I'm not denying the fact that you can definitely allow people back into your life and they can have changed as well. Of course, like, we're all humans. We all we all grow regardless if we want to or not. Like, growth is inevitable, change is inevitable, of course. But I think that there is just a difference in the kind of energy that they bring. If they bring maybe a positive, light, exciting, energy, I think that it does feel new. It feels refreshed. It feels like a new relationship. But if you allow them back into your life and it's the same old things you're upset about, it's the same old things that you remember how you used to feel, it's the same old feelings that are coming up, I think that there was a reason for that. And I think it's because that they just are still meant to be in the past. And like I said, I'm still learning this. There's still people from my past that I have allowed in time and time again, because I think that, oh, well, I've done a lot of work. Maybe they have too. Like, I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give them a chance. I want to hear them out and blah, blah, blah. And then I kind of let them in. And then all of a sudden I end up sad because they hurt me in a way that they didn't mean to. But, it's just weird. It's just weird patterns that are coming up time and time again. Most of the time, if they're in the past, they're meant to be left in the past. 2, sometimes we just don't have all the answers. And that kind of speaks for itself, but I think as someone who grew up with social media, grew up with seeing young people achieve their dreams so young, and kind of being confused and questioning your worth and your dreams and what you want to do. And, I feel like me, speaking for myself, but I also feel like I speak for a lot of young 20s people, I feel like we're given a lot of pressure to kind of know things. We're given a lot of pressure to be like, okay, so what are you going to school for? Or what are you planning? Or where do you want to be? And what do you want to be? And blah, blah, blah. And I think that it's okay to know. And of course, it's more than okay to know. And if you do know, then that's amazing. But sometimes it's okay to not have all the answers. And it's okay to kind of just say like, I am doing this right now, but I don't know where it's going to go. I'm really just following my heart. Sometimes, even though that might not be a good enough answer for you or for your family or for literally anyone, at the end of the day, sometimes, most of the time, that's the truth. And if you feel like telling the truth, then you can be honest. You can even be honest and be like, yeah, like I'm going to, flight school or something, but like, I don't know where it's going to lead. Obviously, like it might lead to you being a pilot, or maybe it just led to a passion and a hobby. And then all of a sudden you want to do something else. Like, it's totally fine if you want to change it up. So sometimes I feel that we are getting asked questions and we have a lot of pressure because of society and, because of our parents' generation and everything. I think that we just have a lot of pressure. And I think that it's okay to not have all the answers for everyone. Like, it's okay to be like, I'm doing this right now, but I kind of have no idea where it's going to go. And I'm really just, blind faith. I'm really just kind of working hard, being present. Of course I have goals. Of course I have places I want to be. Of course I have dreams that I want to achieve. But sometimes it's hard to verbalize those dreams to people that don't have the vision that you have. Kind of like what I was talking about in my last episode about being an artist, and you kind of see your vision, you kind of see where you're going, you kind of have a perspective of where you want to be, but sometimes it's harder for family and friends to really kind of grasp the weight of what you want to do and who you want to be. So I think that it's okay to not have all the answers, and it's okay to be confident within the I don't know. It's okay, Of course, there's going to be a point in life where we got to know, but I think it'll come more naturally than we think. I think it'll come a little more organically than we might have been taught. I don't think that it's necessarily this like huge pressure that's got to be like, you got to pick something. Now's the time. Clock's ticking. Like, okay, like, yeah, maybe if you have a baby or something, you got to pick a job. You got to pay the baby, or you got to pay you got to feed the baby. But like, if you're kind of just like a single person, even if you're in a relationship and it's just you two, like, it's okay to really not have all the answers. And it's okay to literally just be yourself and express yourself, be creative, or go to work, or make content, or, plant your garden. Do whatever you want to do, because wherever it leads is where you're meant to be. So, number 3, you don't need the closure. I recently sent this text to one of my exes, and because I saw that they are taken. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. Obviously, move on, please. Okay? Like, please, I'm so happy for you. But like, as an emotional being, let's just say I reached out to an ex and I was left on red. And honestly, being left on red gave me all the closure that I needed. Because, of course, it would have been nice to see a text. It would have been nice to see a response. It would have. Okay? But all in all, the red gave me all the closure that I needed. It gave me everything I needed to know. Clearly, you're committed. Clearly, you're a loyal person to your new partner. Clearly, you're not into me anymore. Clearly, you're over me. Okay? And you know what? Thank you. Thank you for at least leaving it on red, because I think the red is closure within itself. And I think a lot of us, young people, not even young, but a little mostly young people, because our frontal lobe and, on top of being a woman, we're super just, get in our heads about the littlest things. I feel that we crave this sort of closing of a chapter. We crave this like goodbye moment. We crave that last kiss, that last goodbye, that last I love you. And we crave at least knowing that it's the last goodbye. We crave at least knowing that this is the last time. This is going to be our last conversation. This is going to be our last kiss. This is going to be our last time. Like, I think we crave this overall closure of just the knowing that it's the last time that we're going to talk to this person. We crave that because I think as just women in general, I think we just love being in control of things and we love being in the know as much as a lot of women and people love being in the unknown, because femininity is a lot about embracing the unknown and embracing the present and really just living moment to moment. But I think a lot of women have this idea of just wanting control, especially over a relationship, over someone that you love. Not necessarily controlling, but kind of just in a headspace of wanting to have something to hold on to, wanting to have some sort of weight attached to something. We want to hear the I'm sorry. We want to hear the I'm sorry I hurt you. We want to hear the I miss you too. We want to hear the I still love you. I know, and depending on the individual, of course, we want these feelings of like relief, that they still feel the same, that they're apologetic, that they're empathetic, that they're compassionate about the way we feel. We crave these feelings of completion within a relationship. And other ways of completion. Okay. And I think that we don't need that. We don't need to hear them say, I still love you, I miss you. All right, well, I'm moving. I'll always be thinking about you. I'll always love you. I'll never forget you. I don't think we need to hear those things. For one, I think it's a little harder for men to be able to verbalize these feelings. Depending on the man, of course, but I just think it's more normal for a man to kind of have a harder time communicating how he truly feels. And that's okay. It's a lot about how men have been brought up in this society. I don't blame the man for that. But I think what I'm trying to come across is like, just because they didn't say it doesn't mean that's not how they feel. And just because they haven't responded, or just because they left you on red, or just because you didn't get the closure that you needed, doesn't mean that all of those feelings are down the drain, out the door. I think that men mask it better. And I think that certain people, not even just men. I know there's toxic women out there too. I know it. But I think the person that you might be craving the closure from feels it, but just can't verbalize it out of fear, out of ego, out of whatever they're going through internally. Or maybe maybe they are over you. And in that case, that should be even more of an excuse to kind of be like, I don't even need your closure because I don't want you to lie to me. I don't want your pity. I don't want, you to have to say something you don't mean. So like, I think that there are a lot of closures that you can give yourself, if you know that they're a sensitive person, and if you know that they fell for you as much as you fell for them, then you know how they feel about you, even without any words being exchanged, no matter how far away they are, whatever, you can feel it. But I think other times you can also feel that maybe you're the one that's still hanging on. Maybe you're the one that's still holding on so tight to something that might not need to be as held on tightly to anymore. And I think that there just comes a point where we need to give ourselves the closure that they're moving on, and I should too, whether they're moving on in a healthy way or not, they're moving on. And I think that it's best that we take initiative with our own feelings and be like, you know what? I crave love and closure and compassion from this person, but I need to figure out how to give it to myself because they're not going to reach out and I'm not going to reach back out to them. You don't need the closure. Number 4, this is a time of patience. I feel that I am constantly trying to rush things. I feel like a lot of us in our young 20s really, really want to have as much money as possible for the rest of our lives. We want to have everything figured out. We want to have all of our ducks in a row. We want to make sure that we know when we're going to get married, when we're going to have babies, when we're going to buy a house, when our career is going to be set in stone. We want to know everything. And, it kind of refers back to what I said in 2. Sometimes we don't always have the answers, but I think this is also a time for us to just be patient with the process. This is our time to be patient with, if we have a job that we don't like, we just have to be patient because we know that this job won't be the job for our rest of our lives. If we're in a position in life where maybe we're living at home, maybe we're living with a toxic ex, or maybe we're living with shitty roommates, I think that we have to keep in mind that, of course, if you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, figure out how to get out. But I think there's also an era of time that you are doing everything you can in order to leave, but you have to remain patient to be in God's timing, because a lot of things move and shift within God's timing. And it always starts with a feeling. It always starts with a feeling of like, I need to get out. I need to move on. I've outgrown this situation. I've outgrown this room. I've outgrown this environment. I've outgrown these people. Like, I think there is a feeling that comes before the actual action. But once that feeling comes, you got to be patient with when the real world, whenever reality is ready to make that shift for you. Of course, you can do as much as you can to make this shift happen. Of course, you can literally do whatever you need to do to get all your ducks in a row and boom, you can be out of your environment within a day. But some people don't have that luxury. Some people can't just pick up and move out right away, or pick up and move on, or load up their car and drive across the country. Like, some people can't just do that right away. It requires patience. And just like even in a career, I feel that we want things now. We want things in a rush. We want the influx of attention. We want the influx of abundance of, receiving opportunities and, just community. And, we want things really, really fast. Amazon Prime. Okay. But I think that this is an era of time that we also need to remain patient within the decisions we make. If we, want to pursue content creation, you got to be patient. You got to be consistent, and you got to be patient with the process. If you want to get your own place, but you are with roommates or you're at home, you got to be patient with the process of saving up that money and, being able to move out. If you are, just you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life, you kind of don't know what direction you want your life to go, careerial is not a word, but I'm making it a word, okay? I'm going to go to the dictionary place and make it a word because careerial makes so much sense. But in a careerial stance, you got to be patient with that process too, because especially if you're young, it's okay to not know what the rest of your life is going to look like. Just because I want to do content creation and music, does that mean that my whole rest of my life is going to be that? I have no freaking clue. I don't know. I'm just following my heart right now in the present moment. And if in the present moment you don't know what your life looks like, you're just happy when you're with your friends, you're happy when you are, shopping, you're happy when you are, at work, whatever. You're happy in bed laying with your cat. I think that you just got to be patient with the process. You got to be patient with the flow of life because every day is a shift. Every day is new growth. And I think once you turn off your anxiety cap, once you take off the worry, I was going to say worry cap. These are just stupid examples, Bailey. Once you try to release a little bit of control of what you want the outcome of your life to look like, and you're just patient with the process and letting it unfold naturally, I think that that's just what we can do. And I don't even think that is just in your 20s. That's throughout all of life. You just have to remain patient with the process. Number 5, it's okay not to like what other young 20s people are doing. I don't like to go on club. I do it sometimes, but I don't necessarily enjoy it. It's not something that I'd pick myself to do. I don't necessarily love to drink and everything. I don't vape. And this isn't really me being all oh, look at me. Look what I don't do. I do go club. I do drink sometimes. It's very rare, but I do it. I think that it's okay to not do certain things. It's cool. That's what makes you you. I think I haven't really met a lot of people that struggle with this, but I think I'm just adding it to my list because it's just something that I learned along the way. It's okay to not like what other people find cool, okay? Because there were things that I was doing in LA that other people thought was so cool. They would never do it themselves, but they thought it was so cool that I was doing it. And then I was just it's really not that cool. It's cool when you think about it, I guess, but in the moment when you're the one doing it, you're I'd rather be at home. I'd rather not be doing this, Once you kind of realize okay, you know what? I actually don't like vaping. I kind of just joined the crowd, or you know what? I actually don't like going out to drink, but it's just because my friends go out and do it, so I'm going to go do it. I actually don't want to go away for a weekend and just drink into oblivion and gamble. I just don't think I want to do that. It's fun because I think we should also, another thing on my list, which I'll cross off, but I think another thing that we should do in our 20s is definitely say yes to a lot of things that we don't necessarily know what the outcome will be, because trust the process and everything, kind of just go with the flow. Sometimes it's fun to have a little bit of adventure in your life, but also I think it's okay to be yeah, I did that, not my thing. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be your thing. You don't gotta do what you don't want to do. Vaping is another thing because that's literally addiction. You might say you don't want to do it, but, you're kind of already hooked. But I think that just because the people around you still vape, and just because society has normalized vaping and everything, that doesn't make it something that you have to do, and not to lecture people that vape, because obviously I don't vape. I don't necessarily get the whole addiction, but I do have empathy because there is addiction in my family, and I feel that I have been very dependent on weed. I don't know if addiction is the right word, but I definitely feel dependent on weed, and I have felt dependent on it in the past for sure. And taking a break from weed doesn't necessarily give you withdrawals or anything. You kind of just have an itch for it, really, but it's not necessarily you are literally like sweats, sickness, like everything that comes, like the mood swings and the appetite. Like, it's definitely not like that when you stop smoking weed. It's really just kind of like, oh, well, I could get high right now. Like, that'd be nice. You know, it's really chill, I feel like, getting off weed. I mean, at least from my experience. But, you know, I don't know what the vaping experience is like. But if you are someone that is super young and you are vaping and a lot of people around you vape and it's not necessarily your thing, you don't like it, you're just kind of addicted and you're just kind of doing it because you feel like you have to because you're addicted, I think that there is if you are feeling these feelings of I need to move on from this is not me, this is not what I want. And it could also include drinking alcohol, it could include doing other drugs, it could include just like even following patterns that people follow within emotional patterns or artist block or complaining about things or being super negative. Like, I think that it can result from other things than just substance abuse. But like, if people around you are kind of doing things that you don't resonate with, that you don't enjoy to do yourself, and you would kind of like to move on from it, take note of that. Take note of the fact that you don't like to vape, but everyone else around you does, and you only do it out of codependency with the vape. Or, you know, kind of put into consideration that, like, you want to get out of your artist block, or you want to start going to the gym, but people around you don't necessarily want to do that. They kind of just want to eat fast food and kind of just, like, chill. I think that you can kind of take those thoughts. You don't necessarily have to do anything about them if you don't want to, but I think that it's good to know that you're thinking like that. And it's good to keep in mind that you are having those thoughts at a young age, and you should definitely utilize them. Number 6, find mini miracles. So yesterday I did an EFT tapping, which if you want to get into EFT tapping, I actually want to look up and explain to you guys what EFT tapping is. EFT tapping is a self-help strategy used to manage stress and anxiety. EFT involves tapping on certain points of your face and body while thinking about negative emotions or stress you want to release. EFT may be helpful in the treatment of depression, PTSD, or phobias. And I found out about EFT tapping from Kim Perez, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. From the Claim Your Power membership host, Kim. I found out about EFT tapping from her. And I kind of knew about it in a sense because, like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, if you have anxiety attacks or a panic attack, like, tap your chest, you know, or, like, tap, like, between your eyebrows or something. Like, I've seen that. But there's a whole, like, meditative side where you do the EFT tapping and you say affirmations and you talk about things you want to release. Like, there's, like, a money magnet EFT tapping. There is, like, a gratitude EFT tapping. There's fear of being seen EFT. So there's just a lot of different practices that you can do depending on what you want to release in your body. So I think one that I did the other day was about miracles. I don't know why, but lately what's been on my mind a lot is just like miracles. Like, I find miracles a very beautiful thing. I find the fact that things just happen to work out for us, or things just happen and kind of fall into our lap in a way, is just proof of God. It's proof of divinity, and it's proof of this invisible realm. And I truly don't believe in coincidences. I really don't. I think that things happen for a reason. I think we're meant to be at certain places and certain times in our life because that's just how it's supposed to be. I just truly think that that is just the way of life. So I was thinking about miracles the other day, and I was just like, I feel like miracles are a beautiful thing. And I experience miracles for sure, but like as in really, really big ones, like they're kind of rare. But I did an EFT tapping on expect miracles. And his name is Brad, I think, or Brian. And one thing that he was saying was like, you know, expecting miracles is like the sun came out today. I'm able to breathe oxygen. I'm able to be on a planet that keeps me grounded and has fresh air for me to breathe. What a miracle that this tree is so big and it's giving me shade at this park. What a miracle that I have food in my fridge to be able to eat. What a miracle that I have water to drink. What a miracle that I can put ice in this water. Like, I think it's just noticing many miracles throughout your life and throughout your day is a great way for you to show the universe that you are in a receiving state of expecting miracles. Because at the end of the day, if you see the sun shining through your window and you see your cat purring on you and you see your best friend talking to you about things that you know that they struggle talking about with other people, but they're able to talk to you about it, are miracles. And I think that when we kind of rewire our brain to, being like, well, of course the sun came out, or of course there's air for us to breathe. Like, instead of looking at it in a sense of like, well, duh, looking at it as like, what a miracle, And I think the more that we think more along the lines of like, what a miracle this, what a miracle that, I think that bigger miracles that we do want, that we do expect to happen to us will pop up because of how much we are in receiving mode and how much we are in an abundant mindset of like, look how much there is to be grateful for. Look how many miracles surround us on a day-to-day basis. Today, someone experienced a massive miracle. Today, somebody experienced something that they did not expect to experience. Today, somebody has had the best day of their life. And that's a miracle within itself. Just because it doesn't involve you, just because you don't even know them, just because you have no idea what's going on, does not mean that the miracle is not present. It's present, happening right now. It's just not happening to you yet. But you can still feel the excitement and the abundance of miracles that happen on a day-to-day basis. So that's that. I kind of need to move down this list fast because I feel like I'm going at a slow pace. 7, this is a time to create new habits and try new fun things. I have just recently started rollerblading. And if you rollerblade or if you like skateboard or if you do like an outdoors sport or something, you're just kind of going to be like, yeah, whatever. You can just get over with this. But I love having a new I was going to say hobby and habit. I love talking. Sorry, I'm just so excited. I love having I love having a new hobby. I love the idea, the fact that I can just go outside and focus on one thing, and that's rollerblading. I love that I have this new hobby. I can put on my headphones and I can focus on the music. I can focus on the road. I can gain muscle. I can, you know what I mean? I love having this new hobby of something that is active. It's good for my body. It's good for my mind and soul. It's good for my mental health. I think that I just love having this new hobby that I'm doing now while I'm still young, while I can still fall and not really hurt myself, depending on how I fall. But I love that being at young ages that we are now, we are so rich in time. So I think that if you want to pick up a new hobby, like me getting this guitar, I have nails. I haven't been playing it. I feel very, very inadequate. But picking up an instrument or picking up a new skill, picking up a new hobby, whatever it may be, I think that now is the time. And I think that it's so much better to start when you kind of have the idea in your head. If you have this idea that you've been wanting to go to a sewing class, you've been wanting to go to a dance class, you've been wanting to, whatever. I think that now is the time, no matter what age you're at, honestly, because there's no such thing as too old. But I think when it comes to physical activities, you should definitely do it while you're still young and while you can still afford to fall and not hurt yourself too bad, or you can kind of be able to just scrape it up a little easier than you would be if you're, in your late 50s or whatever. New habits, and of course I could recommend Atomic Habits to you. That's a great book. I haven't read it in a really long time, but from what I remember, it was beautiful. And I think incorporating a fun little habit to your day, whether it be like making a new drink for yourself in the morning, or making sure that you eat like a fruit or a vegetable first thing in the morning, just like tiny little habits that can get incorporated into your life, can really have micro effects that are positive. Number 8, being is a blessing. And to me, this one's just kind of obvious. It's kind of along the lines of being present and just being, like with your cat, going on a walk without your phone or music, or, swimming in the ocean, sunbathing, driving, listening to your favorite song, shopping at Target with your bestie. I think in those moments of just being, of just ultimate presence, of just cultivating the moment, of just being, those moments, even when you're in flow state doing art or making a podcast or editing a video, whatever, if you are just in a constant state of just being in the present moment, there's something so rich within that feeling, and it is such a blessing, and it should be gratifying. I've learned that when I'm in moments of being and of presence, I can look back at those moments and be so thankful and grateful that I was present in them. I can be so thankful and grateful that I was not living in a constant loop of the past and the future constantly, and I can look back and be like, I'm so grateful I was present for that. Like, so grateful, because I can miss that moment, but I don't miss it nearly as much as I miss moments that I wasn't present in. Does that make sense? So being is a blessing. So remain in a presence state as much as you can. Number 9, tween stage of adulthood. Okay, so I think young 20s, actually my friend told me this. Being in our young 20s is kind of like us being in that really weird stage, like before we were teenagers, like that really weird, like tween stage, like whenever you're kind of like between 11 and like 13, those are just, even 14, they're just kind of like awkward ages, they're kind of just like ages you don't really know what's going on. You're kind of just starting to get the feel of what it feels like to have feelings for someone, or, start to do adult things. You start to have adult thoughts. You start to watch adult stuff. Like, you kind of start to get into the headspace of, ooh, what is this like? What's this like? You get more curious about things. I think that with that comes with a lot of anxiety. And I think that being in our young 20s just has a lot to do with the same kinds of feelings. We're anxious about adulthood is like. We're anxious about what new friendships are like. We're kind of a little bit curious, like, is it okay if I'm in a relationship right now, because we're still so young, but like, I love this person, like I'm in love and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think that, and then on top of it, we have adult responsibilities, whether it's bills or whether it's our car or our job, our school, whatever. I think that there's so many layers to adulthood, and the beginning of adulthood that's just awkward and anxious filled and confusing. And I think that we just need to kind of remember that these are just awkward years that we need to just be present and continue to do our best within them. I think that, of course, we're going to have pressure. Of course, we're going to have anxious moments. Of course, we're going to have moments of anxiety. But I think that it's also key to remember that, like, okay, this season is temporary and this season is not going to be forever. And I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to move on from this. And I've learned my lesson. And I'm going to continue to learn my lesson time and time again from this moment. Because I think we kind of get a little lost in the sauce. And we're like, why can't I fucking figure anything out? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with my brain? Like, I'm so confused. Like, I don't get how this works. I'm lost. I'm heartbroken. Whatever. I think we can kind of rearrange those thoughts to kind of being like, you know what? Yes, I'm anxious. Yes, I'm scared. I know a lot's happening to me right now, but this is just an awkward time. I know at some point in life, things like this are going to hit me and I'm not going to feel this anxious about it. Number 10, listen to your gut because you know best. I think that being in our young 20s, we have this weird, this is how I see adulthood, okay? And if you're an adult, maybe you can kind of comment in the comments below. I feel like when you reach adulthood, it's easier to listen to your intuition. I feel like when we grow up, we're more sure of ourselves, we're more sure of our decisions, and we're more certain within what we want in this life, what we want to do within the present moment, what we want to do within the next couple of days. We'll know how we'll feel if we do something today, and then we have something planned tomorrow. We'll know how we feel after a long day of work. We know, everything. I think that when we reach adulthood, of course, there's going to be moments that we get lost and confused and everything, of course. But I just think that once we get older, I think that our intuition becomes more of the leading voice instead of our anxious thoughts and instead of our anxiety being so loud. I just think that, and you don't have to be a young person to have like a loud anxiety, thoughts. I think that happens at any age. But I feel that it's easier for us to understand what our gut is saying and feeling once we actually grow up and practice listening to what our gut is telling us. So I think in these years of like early 20s and, really before frontal lobe-ness is approacheth, I think that we can actually have a really good idea of like, okay, well, I do feel this way about this, but I also feel this way about this. And I think we should check which thought or which feeling has more anxiety. Does this feeling hold more weight of anxious feelings and a pit in our stomach? Or does this make us feel a little lighter, a little more at ease? Maybe there's a little layer of uncomfort, but maybe this is what's best. I think in these early stages of life, we need to remember to listen to our gut, and we need to remember what makes us feel uncomfortable and anxious, or what makes us feel maybe just a little uneasy, but we know what's best. We know that it's the best decision to make. So I think that right now and moving forward, we kind of are just now beginning to understand our intuition, and we're just beginning to understand like, okay, I have these thoughts, but I know what my heart is telling me. I know what my body's telling me. I might be super scared to make this big step in life, but I know that this discomfort, this unease is for a reason. And it's just because I'm fearful. It's on the other side of fear. Freedom is on the other side of fear. So listen to your gut, even if it's scary. 11, no matter how much chatter is in your ear, your path is individual and unique. And what I meant by this was, I feel like a lot of us young 20s people have a lot of people that are older than us in our ear kind of yapping about like, oh, life's not going to be that easy, or oh, good luck with that, or oh, this, all that. Of course, I know older people hold wisdom, and of course, I know that older people are wiser, and our elders are meant to be respected, and our elders are people that really do just want to see us win a lot of the time. Sometimes, not all the time, okay? But, a little bit most of the time. I feel that we also need to keep in mind that our path is individual, and our paths are uniquely ours. We can compare what our life looks like to our mom, to their mom, to celebrities, kids, to our best friends. We can compare our life situation to everyone else around us. We can, sure. But our paths are uniquely ours for a reason. Our paths are different. You're not meant to have the same path path as your mom, as your friend, as your cousin. Okay, you're just not. You have your own unique individual path, and it's going to be different. And it's up to you to decide if you want it to be a positive or an inherently negative experience. That's really up to you. That's up to your free will. If you want to depend on substances and negative thought patterns and negative consecutive feelings, that's up to you. But I think it's also up to you to realize, like, you know what? I don't want to live like this. I'm going to choose positivity. I'm going to see where being positive leads me. I'm going to see where having a positive mindset and having healthy habits and being consistent and being devotional and being determined to God, or being excited about life and keep maintaining healthy relationships and loving myself. I'm going to see where that leads me. I'm going to see where remaining in my positive light takes me. I'm not going to fall for the whole, well, good luck with that. I'm not going to fall for be realistic. I'm not going to fall for, don't do this because you don't know, not a lot of people succeed in that and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to fall for that. I'm going to listen to my heart. Okay. And even though a lot of older people think that listening to your heart, and all that stuff, a lot of people do say, do that, listen to your heart. So therefore, good for you. But a lot of older people don't have that same headspace, like they didn't chase their dreams. They didn't think that it was logical for them to achieve and chase their dreams. So they kind of have this headspace of, don't do that, be logistical, But I think you have to remember that your path is individual. Your path is uniquely yours. And if you want the free will to decide, I'm going to have an inherently positive life, no matter what's thrown at me, no matter what situations fall into my lap, no matter what causes me to have to learn a lesson, I think that we can keep in mind that we can also look at it in a light that's different than what our elders looked at it and how maybe our negative friends look at it or negative family members. I think that there is a way to look at life and not such as this like competition, or not look at life as this like battlefield that we have to constantly fight and fend for our lives. Like, of course, there are going to be moments. Just like in any, literally, I'm not saying that life is going to be perfect and swift and amazing and easy all the time, because that's just not the human experience. It's not what being on earth is like, not even trees experience bliss all the time, So I just think it's our free will to decide how we choose to react and respond to these situations. And so I think that we can kind of just realize, like, you know what? Thank you for the advice, but I'm just going to keep doing me. That's that. Your path is uniquely yours. If other people are yapping in your ear, telling you that's not going to work, that's not going to work, that's not going to work, you could be like, thank you, but like, no, thank you. Moving on. 12. Social media is absolutely not real, and comparison is the thief of joy. And honestly, that's pretty much all I have to say. I actually have an episode on comparison is the thief of joy. It's one of my first few episodes. So I would definitely recommend that episode for you to listen to if you struggle with comparison, because I definitely still struggle with comparison. I struggle with it to this day. And it is something that I'm definitely working on. It's something that I'm definitely still moving on from. And I think that it's a constant daily reminder that we need to stop comparing ourselves. Of course, if you're on social media all day, every day, I'm even posting on it, it's hard to not. It's very, very hard to not compare. But we got to learn. We got to learn to not. We got to learn to keep doing us. We got to learn to keep not comparing to everyone else. Because guess what? They're comparing themselves to us. And they're comparing themselves to the same people that we're comparing ourselves to. And it's just a line, and even amazing, successful, beautiful people compare themselves. And it's just, at the end of the day, it's just a consistent cycle of comparing. At this point, why should I keep comparing myself if I know that even when I reach a point where I feel that it's successful, I feel whatever, yada, 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 and I'm still going to be comparing myself? I might as well just stop now, Social media is literally as real as I am on social media. I'm also not that real either. Like, I'm really not. Like, I'll be posting how quote unquote good I'm doing when I'm laying in bed sick. I'll be posting old TikToks. I'll be posting on my story like spiritual things. I'll be posting old pictures on my story. I will be doing things like posting things that make my life feel like I'm portraying this like happy-go-lucky version when really I'm just not. In the moment that I'm posting it, I'm probably not, living that lavish old life. Sometimes I am, but then most of the time I'm not, and that's okay, because social media isn't always real. Sometimes it is, and that's amazing. I love when it's real. I love when it's raw and it's authentic. I love that shit, and I try to remain as authentic and as real as possible. But in retrospect, I also try to be aesthetic. I also try to have a theme. I also try to maintain a certain image. And that's what a lot of people do on social media, as you know. That they might be real, they might be authentic, but they're also trying to create an image. They're also trying to have an aesthetic. They're also trying to create a theme. There's just, with social media, it's like you can be as real as possible, but you're always going to have some sort of mask because you're being perceived by people. And because you're trying to have this certain perception that you want to be perceived as. And I don't think we're going to post us being sick in bed. We're not going to post us being super depressed and crying. We're not going to post these things. Some people might. And I love people that do that. But a lot of people don't. And it's like, you know what? Why compare myself to people that are inherently not always feeling that good all the time? Because they're humans. Okay, 13. Others might have it figured out now, but you'll have life later on even more figured out than you can ever imagine. And to me, I feel like this is the comparison game. I compare myself a lot to people that are in their young 20s. They know what they're striving for. They know where they're going. They know exactly what their life is going to look like. They have A, B, C, and D plans. They have every single duck in a row. And I'm a kind of person where I'm a little more follow your heart, go with the flow, trust the process. That's kind of the more person I am because I'm a creative and I feel like I'm following a creative path. And that a creative path is a lot more trust. It's a lot more having to just trust the process of this life. It's a lot more of having to just kind of grasp the understanding that things are going to, shift through time, and it's okay to not have all the answers, but I think that not having it all figured out at such a young age is a blessing, because I think it gives us time to have a more long-lasting life of things figured out. I think if you are super stable and super structured within your 20s, that's amazing. Great. And I'm so happy for you. But I think something else that weighs on me is I feel like if I had everything figured out right now, I'd be a little nervous personally. And I'm not saying you should be. I'm happy for you, okay? Because as you should. But I think personally, in my experience, if I had everything figured out, if I had a relationship, if I had a house, if I had a extremely stable career, all right now in my really young 20s, I'd feel a little nervous because I have the whole rest of my life for what? I feel like I'm excited to kind of have my 20s be a time that I'm creative, expressive, traveling, single, not really tied down, because I think I have my whole rest of my life to have shit figured out. I have the whole rest of my life to buy a house, to go to Baeley, to find the love of my life, to chase my dreams. Like, I think that, of course, yeah, we can die tomorrow. I mean, live every day like it's your last. But also, I think that I just love that I have this idea of, it keeps me in a happier headspace. It might not be true. Is anything really true? Okay, we don't know. But I think what keeps me grounded within the unknown and within the discomfort of being single and within the, uncomfortability of like the, I don't know where it's going. I think what keeps me grounded is the fact that I might not have it figured out right now, but I swear one day I will, and it'll be so stable, it'll be so structured, it'll be so organic, and it won't feel forced, and it won't feel like I did it out of pressure. It won't feel like I did it out of feeling rushed. It won't feel like I did it out of force. I did it because it happened naturally and organically, and I'm so happy that I waited. I'm so happy that I was patient. I'm so happy that I did step by step. I'm so happy that I didn't rush myself into a situation of stability because I was nervous. Because I feel like, yes, of course, tomorrow's not always promised, but I think that if I have this mindset of I know I'm going to have it figured out, I just know it, just because it's not like it right now doesn't mean that it's not going to be, doesn't mean that I'm not going to exceed stability and structure in the past or in the future. Just because I don't have it in this very, 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 very moment, even though I do, I feel like time isn't linear. And if I feel I'm going to do this, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to have it, I'm going to be good, I'm going to have the money, I'm going to have the house, I'm going to have the career, I'm going to have the audience, I'm going to have the stability. If I feel that way right now, in another timeline, somewhere parallel, somewhere linear happening right now in this very moment, because time is not linear, time is not real, it's happening and it's there and it's all there. And if you feel that too, but you're in a season of uncertainty and confusion and everything, I think that in another linear timeline, something is working out for you and something is happening to you that is positive. And if you feel it, it's happening. If you feel that stability, if you feel that community, if you feel that success, that means that it's happening within a linear timeline. And you are going to be able to be like, oh, I feel it. I feel it, like you don't know when, you don't know how it's going to work out, but it's going to be so organic. It's going to be so natural. And, you're going to be looked at as someone that's older and you're happier because you didn't rush into anything. You didn't force anything to happen to you. You didn't force a family. You didn't force a career. You didn't force stability in your young 20s. You let it happen so naturally to the point where you were able to live presently within your 20s and you're able to also be present within your success as well. 14, trust yourself. Pretty much trust your gut, but if you don't like someone, trust that. If you don't like how a situation is going, trust that. If you don't like the new job that you're at, trust that. Every single thing that you feel like about, trust that. Okay, I'm going to just speed round this now. 15, feed your body health, even if it's boring. I have a weird relationship with food right now, and it's not necessarily bad. I'm very healthy. I would consider myself a healthy person, but I love me a Taco Bell moment. I love me a Taco Bell moment. And I feel that it's not bad if you want to go get Taco Bell sometimes. I feel it's not bad if you want Chick-fil-A every now and again. Do I think you should be feeding it your body every single day? No. Do I think that you should live off of fast food? Absolutely not. I think that we need now, while we're young, to be able to let ourselves indulge because we can afford to indulge. We have the metabolism. We have, the physical capabilities of being able to break down these processed foods better than we are able to whenever we're older. So I definitely think that if there's a time to eat bad, it's now. But I think that it's also key to keep in mind that if we want to maintain a healthy body, if we want to avoid sickness, if we want to be able to have kids, if we want to be able to be an active parent, if we want to be able to be a healthy mindset person in general, I was going to say parent, but person, friend, partner, if we want to have a stable mental health, we have to start eating right. and we have to start eating better. And I think that it's like an 80-20, same with working out, 80-20, 20% working out, 80% your diet. With food in general, I think it's 80% you eat good, you eat raw, you eat authentically. 20% let yourself indulge, let yourself eat the cake, let yourself eat the Taco Bell, let yourself indulge when you feel the need to. But I also think that it's an 80-20, like I think it's better to indulge when you feel that indulging is meant to be had, or maybe you have no other choice, like maybe you're just coming home late from work, or you're at a party or whatever. I think that, of course, like I said, we're young. It's okay to let yourself eat these foods. It's okay. But I think also something we should keep in mind while we're young is, okay, like, listen, I have a healthy body. I have a cute young body. I want to maintain the health of my mental and physical health now, so that way it doesn't reach a point where it feels like it's quote unquote too late, because it's never too late. Technically, you can always turn your life around, no matter what age, no matter what weight, no matter what life looks like. You can always turn it around. But I think it's nice to start young, that way that we can kind of, not have to have such a huge divot, not to have such a huge, like, damn, like, why did I go 10 years eating like shit, sleeping like shit, like, why did I go 10 years not even noticing how bad my habits were? I think it's good to start young. 16, our closeness with nature is infinite. Our closeness with nature is infinite. And by that, I mean, never forget how close we are to nature. Nature is abundant. We are abundant. Nature started out as a little seed in the ground. We started as a tiny little seed in our mommies. And now we're growing. We're developing. One post that I saw on Instagram the other day was, there is a tree that was born on the same day as you and is growing up with you. And I meditated on that. Hi, my boy. I meditated on that today. I was like, there is a tree somewhere that is my age. And I don't know why I feel so connected to that thought. I feel so connected to the thought that there is a tree out there that is a Gemini. Like, our connection to nature is so infinite, and our connection to the life force that runs through plants is the same life force that runs through us. So I think what I've learned so much is, anytime I'm struggling, anytime I'm having a mental breakdown, anytime that I'm really, really, really not doing good and not feeling my best and not feeling stable within my relationship with myself, God, friends, money, whatever, I can step outside, I can ground, I can reconnect with true nature, and I can be like, you know what? This is a beautiful thing. And I have an episode about connecting to nature as our true nature, so definitely check out that episode. 17, style is subjective. Be yourself. If you like your look, fucking wear it. Okay? This all kind of ties into comparison, but if you like your style, if you like certain colors, if you like certain themes, of course, you're young, maybe your style will mature. But I think we should respect what we love, what style we love, what kind of clothes we love. And we should just honor that. And I think we should just be like, you know what? I like this skirt. I don't care if you don't like this skirt. I'm going to wear it. Okay? I think that is smart for us to, kind of understand, like, okay, maybe this is trendy. Okay, maybe this won't look cute after a while, after X amount of months. But, like, I just feel if we remain in our authentic self, and this isn't even just with clothes, like, with the way we feel and the things we like to do. Like, if you like to skateboard, but Sally likes to paint, okay, like, cool. Let it be. You don't have to paint just for Sally to like you, and she doesn't have to skateboard for you to like her. You know, like you guys can be in your own individual vibes and still be connected because we're all one, which is, I guess I would rather put that as 17. We're all one. But be yourself, because you being yourself is you connecting with that other person because they're being themselves. And therefore, when two people can be themselves and connect, hello, we're all connected. We are all divine. We're all one being, no matter how different we are. So wear what you want to wear. Do what you want to do. That's a fun, healthy hobby. And keep being yourself. Because, like, fuck what other people have to say about what you love to wear and what you love to post and what you love to do with your time. You know, unless it's something toxic and bad. Okay, 18. Love will come. It's okay if it's not now. And this is obviously mostly for my single queens out there. I am single, and of course, I have definitely spiraled about the fact that I'm single, and I've definitely spiraled about the fact that, you know, I have no roster right now. No roster. And I think that that is okay. And I think that that's more than okay. And I think I have never been better. Of course, I have moments that I'm like, I want to be cuddled right now, and amongst other things. But all in all, I think that it is best that we just remain in the knowing that love is here and it's present and it is going to come. Love is prevalent within my life. I know it's going to come. I don't even doubt it. I know someone's going to fall in love with me, and I know that I'm going to fall in love with someone that deserves my time and energy. And I deserve their time and energy. You know, I know that there's a beautiful man or woman out there that is craving my energy. And there is a man or woman out there that I'm craving their energy. But I'm not necessarily dwelling in the fact that I don't have it yet. And I'm not necessarily dwelling in the fact that I am single and alone and I just want someone to love. And of course I do fall in moments like that. I'm a fucking person, okay? Like, of course I crave companionship. But I think that another thing that I'm trying to rewire is I might feel this way, but I love the fact that I can love myself right now, and I can pour into myself. I can pour time and attention and devotion into myself. And that way, when a relationship does come, I don't have to worry about my worth. I don't have to worry about my boundaries. I don't have to worry about, like, am I feeding myself the right things? Like, no, I'm taking this time of being single and I'm appreciating it, and I'm ingesting it with as much positivity as I can, because at the end of the day, like, we are going to fall in love. We are going to find someone that is our companion. We are going to fall into a relationship at some point. So I think that in the midst of being single, you just got to appreciate your relationships, like your friendships, your family relationships, and the biggest and most important one of all, the relationship with yourself. And when you are in a relationship, you won't have as much time to pour into yourself as you might think. So appreciate the single life, no matter how long it's been. Appreciate it and love yourself, and just try to remind yourself that this season isn't going to be forever. It's just not. If you're a loving, even if you're not a healthy, loving person, you are going to find a relationship. But regardless, I assume if you're listening to this podcast, you are a loving, spiritual, divine being. You're going to find someone. Oh, trust. No. Someone's going to find you. Trust that. Okay. If you're listening to this podcast, I assume and I know that you are a beautiful, beautiful person inside and out. I know that you're going to find someone, and I know that someone's going to find you, and I know that it's all going to happen in divine timing, and I know that it's all going to be meant to be, because I know that for me. I know that the next person I'm going to be with is going to be someone that I'm going to love so much, and they're going to love me so much, and they're going to be on their healing journey just as much as I'm going to be on mine, and we're going to help each other, and it's just going to be such a beautiful unfolding, and I'm not going to force anything. And it's going to happen in such an organic, beautiful, natural way. And I'm so excited. But I'm being present. And I love being present with myself, because this is the only thing that I have control over. 19. We're almost done. 19. All the young 20s people on social media traveling and such, that you want to be, it's okay. It will be you when you're ready. Don't compare yourself to the people that are young and live in Bali, okay? Because guess what? I've fallen into that trap of being like, wow, they're literally 21 and they live in Bali. Like, that's crazy. Like, cool. Good for them. That'll be you someday if you really, really, really want it to be you, but you gotta give it time. You just gotta give it time. It all ties in with the patience. It will be you if it's truly what you want, if it's truly part of your path, it will be you. 20, say yes, but it's okay to say no. And this kind of ties in with what I said earlier. I think that it's okay to say yes to things that you don't know what the outcome's going to be. Like, I think it's okay to say yes to things like maybe going to a festival with people you don't really know, or maybe just kind of going in on a whim and just kind of going to a retreat by yourself and kind of not really knowing the outcome, or going on a date, or hanging out with a group of people you haven't seen in a while. Like, I think that it's okay to say yes to things that you kind of have no idea where it's going to lead, because regardless, it'll lead to a good story. Maybe it'll be a really, really happy memory. Maybe it'll be something that you'll have to learn from. Maybe it'll be something that you are able to apply your spiritual practices to the situation. All in all, I think that being young, we have the mental capacity to be able to be like, you know what? I'm actually really excited to do this thing because I have no idea where it's going to lead. But I'm also excited to be able to possibly apply my new spiritual practices. Maybe just sit and listen, maybe observe, maybe kind of be a little bit of like a observer on the outside and just kind of look at the situation from the outside in, you know? I think that it's just fun to say yes to things that you kind of don't know what the outcome's going to be, but obviously consent, okay? It's okay to say no. And if you have been in that situation before, or if you just have a feeling you know it's not something good, or you have a feeling like that intuition that's just kind of like, that doesn't seem safe, that doesn't seem fun, that doesn't seem like the people I want to be around, that just doesn't seem like something I want to do, of course, say no. You know, if that little intuition in you is telling you to say no, then you should probably say no. But if you say yes, there's a reason why you said yes, okay? 21, meditate. I don't even need to get into that. Meditate, okay? 22, focus on what listening to your heart means. And just meditate on listening to your heart. Listen to your intuition, and I feel like our intuition is our heart. It's our gut, it's our body, our intuition is our body, but focus on what listening to your heart means. And I think once we focus on what listening to our heart means, we can focus on more of what we need. We can focus on more of what we need within the moment, what new people we need in our life, what new habits we need, what new practices we want to implement. I think when we practice on what listening to our heart means, we're able to practice on being able to utilize it and be like, you know what? I have a boundary to set. I need to drop this routine. I need to read this. I need to read a book. I need to kind of just stop watching this show. It's too toxic. I think we kind of can start to listen a little to what is being told to us through our heart and through our inner being. Okay. If something's making our heart uncomfortable, there was a reason. It's because your soul and your higher self is trying to communicate to you that this is not the situation for you. And of course, you have to be patient with the process. You got to be patient with how it unfolds, because everything unfolds as it's meant to. But I think you can really, really practice on, okay, my heart didn't like that. Why did my heart do that? Why is my heart beating really fast right now? Why? And I think once we kind of tap into why our heart might be feeling certain things and might be possibly sinking into our stomach, and why we might be feeling some type of ways, we need to listen to that. And we need to kind of focus on, why does my heart feel this way around this person? Why does my heart feel this way when they text me? Why does my heart feel this way when I'm about to go do this thing or go to work or whatever? I think we just kind of need to focus on why our heart feels certain ways about certain things. 23. Give gratitude for presence. Always remain present. And read. Read books. Listen to books. Read books. Books hold so much beautiful knowledge, obviously. It's from older, wiser people. Okay? Books are a beautiful thing. I think that reading is a beautiful part of this human experience. I love that we have so much knowledge at our fingertips, and we can really experience a rewiring and a new consciousness and such crazy, beautiful stability within our mental health by just reading books or listening to books or whatever. So read a book, be present within your body, presence, give gratitude, be grateful for every single tiny little thing, whether it literally just be ice in your water or you pass a stray cat on the street or your favorite song pops on your shuffle. Tiny things to be grateful for are tiny little miracles. And that's all the advice I have, or that's all the 23 things that I've learned at 23. I feel very, very blessed to have learned such fruitful knowledge at such a young age. And I really hope that you got something from this episode. I hope you were able to ingest some sort of beautiful information that I was able to supply to you, not just from me, but from my experiences, from what God has shown me, from what I've learned, what's happened for me, not to me. And yeah, I think that we can really learn a lot from each other. And I think that a lot of you have probably experienced the same things, and I'm sure you probably heard a lot of this stuff before, but I think it's nice to kind of have gentle reminders of what this all means, and it's nice to kind of have specific lessons that we have learned and can remember that we've learned them, and just try to remain in this headspace that we are in a constant state of trying to remember positivity, and we're trying to remember why we came back to earth. We came back to earth to love and connect with one another. We came to earth to touch some grass and be compassionate and love each other and accept the abundance that the universe has for us, whether it be in financial, material ways, or whether it be in nature, whether it be rich in experiences, whether it be rich in time, whatever it is. We were meant to be on this earth, and you're meant to be here. Your purpose matters. And no matter what age you are, you deserve to live this human experience as exciting and as abundant as you want. And yeah. Thank you so much for tapping into the Tapped In podcast. Definitely stay tuned for next Saturday for the next episode. Please give this show 5-star ratings and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know which number you resonated with the most, 1 through 23. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. Give this video a like. And yeah, thank you so much for tapping into the Tapped In podcast. And I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.